From the Cleary Alumni Center on the campus of the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, it's the Mike Schmidt Football Show. Brought to you by Honda Motorworks, your electric and hybrid headquarters at 4th and Cass. By Schilling Supply, serving businesses with critical supplies since 1897. By Schumacher Kish Cremation and Funeral Services in La Crosse, La Crescent, and Onalaska. By 360 Real Estate Solutions, they've got the keys to your new home. And by Market & Johnson, Western Wisconsin's construction leader, adding value to everything they do. Now, here's the host of today's program, Terry Erickson.
Welcome to UW-La Crosse. We're in the Cleary and Friends Alumni Center for the Mike Schmidt Football Show here on KQEG. Reminder that the show is live, plus it's streamed, and it's also played back each Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. We want to begin the show by acknowledging our sponsors, and they are Schilling Supply, Honda Motorworks, Schumacher Kish Funeral Homes, 360 Real Estate, and Market & Johnson. We also want to acknowledge all of our guests. We seem to be getting more each and every week, and we appreciate that in support of Coach Mike Schmidt and UWL football. And now, the star of the show, not me, Mike Schmidt. Well, last week we were here, and our viewers and those here were maybe a little bit unsure what you meant when you said, Terry, this is a really, really good team. Of course, none of us knew the answer because we had never seen them, nor had you, except on tape, because it was the first time you ever played them. But when you said this is a really, really good team, you were right.
Yeah, well, we played a really good team on Saturday in Dickinson, and they, you know what? They played the better game than we did all the way around. In all phases, we got beat, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of positives that we're taking out of this game, but you know, certainly there weren't a whole lot of them, especially in the second half, when the thing really got away from us. But it was a good team, and that's why we scheduled them. We knew they were a good team. We knew what we were getting into with this team in putting them on the schedule, and even think now, I mean, Illinois Wesleyan last week goes out and thumps Wheaton, who was a top 10 team in the country, and we beat that team, and then we had to play this really good Dickinson team. I mean, we've played two really good teams in a row, and we did that on purpose to get us ready for the conference schedule. So hopefully now we've kind of, there's a lot of things that we can fix and a lot of improvements and adjustments that we can make, finding that out against a really good Dickinson State team. Yeah,
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I had no idea that they were that big. I saw their roster. Yep. They were that physical. They were that talented. And by the way, not as well as
360 Real Estate Solutions
had a fantastic game plan, really on both sides. But I really thought their offensive game plan against us was a great. They did a great job in getting up the right stuff and the right calls and things on ways to attack our defense and attack our guys and how we were playing. So I thought they had a wonderful game plan on both sides of it. And then obviously I thought we had a really good game plan going into the game on both sides as well. What I just think was they came out and executed better than we did. They were ready for the game. I didn't have our team ready for that thing, and they played a lot better, especially down the stretch, and they seemed to be the team that was prepared for the heat better than we were. And yeah, I think you just look at that whole combination of things, and that's why we lost the game, and we got thumped. I mean, they really took it to us. They kicked our butts, and that's good. Hey, let's view it as a positive on something that we can now look at to get better for as we go into the bye week and get ready for Whitewater in the conference season.
There was a lot of bright spots, but one of the bright spots was as we're beginning to announce the game, I looked down to the bleachers, and we had a very, very good turnout, not only of community members, but students.
Yeah, really nice student section that we had, for sure. You know, I think sometimes in home games there's more distractions that occur for our players and for our staff than even on road games. Sometimes it's, you know, we went to Illinois Wesleyan last week and it was like, it's kind of nice. We get to get out of here and we're not around. We don't have to do anything, you know, and you just get to focus on the game. So I think in a lot of ways there's a lot of positives to a road game at times. But, you know, certainly good crowd, a great student section for us, and yeah, really happy about the day that we had. We went out and laid an egg and didn't play that well.
Beautiful day. Well, let's, before we break down in this section, this segment, break down exactly what happened. overall, statistically, 532 yards of Dickinson State offense compared to 377 UWL, 96 yards on the or 79 yards on the ground, the rest in the air. But one bright spot too, I thought. I know you don't want to punt 7 times, but Sean Parker is a tremendous punter. He averaged 37 yards,
and he had to punt into the wind the entire day, pretty much. I mean, I think he only punted with the wind once or twice, and those were both in the 40s. With it. So he had a great day punting the ball when he could. I mean, he's kicking into the wind for the most part on those 7 punts. But, I think the story, when you look at that yardage, there's 2 things that really jump out at you is that, we had 200 yards of total offense at halftime and only 10 points to show for it. And that, was a result of the turnover that we had, the 2 turnovers that we ended up having with that. And when you have that kind of production but don't turn it into points, that's bad for you. And that was the story of the first half. But then in the second half, they had 532 yards, and I think almost half of those yards came in the third quarter alone when they had their separation and came out with 3 consecutive scores. So when you look at the yardage, it's a little, those are really the stories within that.
Quickly breaking it down, they score first on a Nick Miller run, and then Ryan Byrne answers, Mr. Reliable, 24 yards. Second quarter, Ahmad Andrews, I thought he ran well, big kid. Stayed low a lot, 1-yard run, followed by one of my favorites, as you well know, Cole Speaker, a beautiful route runner, tremendous hands, 38 yards from Shramsky, 14-10.5. We're in it. You're going to the locker room thinking, guys, we can win this game.
Yeah, I mean, we went in at halftime, and that score was so big. But you look at, we get a call negated on probably a whatever. We get a big return negated on a penalty.
Suspect penalty.
Yes, they screwed up, and we talked about that extensively about what happened there. But they screwed up and threw a penalty flag on us, negating a big return. We have a sack fumble on that ensuing drive. They turned that into points. And we do respond right before the half. We went into halftime and said, boy, we couldn't have played much worse, and we really couldn't have. And we did then in the third quarter, but we're in the game. We're ready to go, and it's like, let's get ourselves regrouped here now and come out. And then we come on in the second half. We get an interception. We do a great job on the kickoff, great coverage on the kickoff. First play of the second half, we get an interception, and then we end up throwing an interception in the end zone, and that's just where it kind of started to snowball on us after that.
It did snowball, and then 21 points, as you said, given up. Boy, Tiger Fry was a great player. We have before we go to break, you score the fourth quarter. Dominic Bellarti, 36-yard pass from Evan Lewandowski. He looked good, came in the fourth quarter. Final 35-7. What did you say to your team afterwards?
Well, I just told them we got our butts kicked, and we did. I mean, you look at that second half, and we drop a pass that could have been a huge gain on a third down where we get behind their coverage and don't convert. On the next drive, they do for a 70-yard touchdown pass. And it was just things like that we just couldn't make the plays. They did. I told the team, hey, we got our butts kicked, and you got to regroup now. And what more do you want? You get Whitewater coming off of a bye right now.
Yeah, I know you. I know as we close, you brought the team together at one point, the 50-yard line, midway through the fourth quarter or third quarter. You talked to them, kind of a come to Jesus sort of speech, it looked like. And then you took them in the locker room before you brought them back out to talk to the media. That was kind of unusual I'm told to close this segment.
Yeah, that's what we do, is get them in the locker room, get a chance to talk in a confined spot with each other and say, here's what we're going to do next. So
yeah, good. I'm sure you were upbeat. Well, we're going to break just for a minute. When we come back, 2 of my favorite players on the Eagle team will join us right after this.
Since 1897, Schilling Supply Company has been your single-source provider of business solutions and supplies. Their 65,000 square foot facility stocks over 3,000 items ranging from packaging, janitorial, industrial, food processing, safety, and specialty products. Schilling Supply provides the essentials you need to meet your customers' and employees' expectations. Businesses like Gunderson, Quick Trip, Dynamic Recycling, and Badger Corrugating rely on Schilling Supply to deliver the right products at the right time. Schilling Supply Company. Visit on the web or call. Since 1897.
all-new Honda Fit gives you the flexibility of the magic seat with the fuel efficiency you celebrate at the pump. From Honda Motorworks.
You'll love more miles per dollar. Honda Motorworks.
The all-new Honda Fit.
360 Real Estate Solutions has the keys to your new home. Introducing the Hub on 6th, rooftop lofted condos for sale. Beautifully designed with open floor plans up to 3 bedrooms. The Hub has what you need for city life, from studios to 3 bedrooms to fit your lifestyle and your pocketbook with the extra touches that matter. A rooftop sports court, bike storage with a washing center, community rooms, storage units, laundry, a pet walk, and a workout room. Get your tour today at hubon6.360.bz.
Stunning from any angle, the HR-V is a crossover of style and versatility.
You'll love more miles per dollar. Honda Motorworks.
Welcome back to the Mike Schmidt Show. Mike and I are joined by two key players, Elijah McGeehan and Jake Simonchek. Two players that I've been impressed with and talked a lot during the 3 games in their own respective skill set. glad you chose them, Mike. Talk about these.
Yeah, two great players for us. Jake obviously having a huge role this year on the special team side of it as our primary return guy, punt returns and kick returns. And we talked about it last week, really had a very pivotal spot in our game against Illinois Wesleyan. Obviously had a big return to set up a drive for us offensively, but came up and from the 10, ran all the way up to the 25, caught their last one to set up our final drive, and really a pivotal point in that game for us. So has had a couple big-time returns for us already this year. And we obviously knew that. Little guy out of South Milwaukee playing quarterback, trying to continue to find ways to get the ball in his hands, and he does a great job. And Eli, he's just been such a wonderful player since he came to us, and boy, just a great leader on our team. And what I always talk about with leaders is that you need to make plays as a leader. In order to be a leader, you have to make plays, and certainly he does that all the time, and has done that in a lot of pivotal situations for us already this season. And yeah, two great players and great people for our program.
Absolutely. Well, I can relate to Jake because that's the position I played. I wasn't quite as good as you. I wasn't even close to being as good as you.
Maybe same height though, you guys.
And the basically fearless approach that Elijah has on defense is absolutely incredible. Well, let's start with Elijah, senior from St. Paul Tartan. Now, not a lot of people know this, but you didn't come directly to UW La Crosse.
No, sir.
Share your journey.
Yeah, so out of high school, I was recruited in the NSIC, the Division II conference in the Midwest. I chose that path, and out of high school, I went to Southwest Minnesota State. I spent 3 years down there. I redshirted my freshman year. I played my redshirt freshman and sophomore season down there. Prior to the conclusion, or after the conclusion of that season, we went through spring ball, and we had a lot of coaching turnover down there, a lot of changes within that program, and I had sat down, had a one-on-one conversation with the defensive coordinator down there at the time. We had a couple disagreements on just where I fit in with the program and where the program was going. Later that week, I had a talk with my position coach. Again, sat down with my defense coordinator and as well as the head coach down there. And then after that conversation, I just decided it wasn't for me anymore. I was looking for a little bit more out of football itself.
But I read your stats, though, when you played
yes,
there.
Sir.
And you were a good linebacker.
I appreciate that.
You were one of the better players in terms of tackles. And you had a lot of playing time, so you just weren't comfortable, though.
Yeah, no, it had nothing to do with the guys down there. I think they were great teammates, and similar to some of the other guys' stories that have transferred within the conference, too. Just what I wanted out of football down there, I didn't necessarily feel. So I decided I wanted to take my talents a little bit in a different direction. My older brother played at UW River Falls too, close to home. And after I had gotten my release from the school, Janice had texted me, and he was like, "Hey, I'm the defense coordinator down in La Crosse." I talked to my brother about it, and he said he loved La Crosse, and he said if he had the opportunity, he would come back and take a visit, because he hadn't taken a visit down here, and I didn't either out of high school. He said he loved the atmosphere. He said if I had the opportunity to take one, and the opportunity came up, and I was down here. Here I am.
I don't know if you know this, but you were my player of the game on Saturday.
I didn't. I appreciate that.
With 16 tackles, and now you have 26 on the season, 1 block punt, by the way.
Yes, sir.
So you're doing all right.
It's worked out.
Yeah. But with Jake Simonchek, South Milwaukee, by the way, you are my size. Good things come in little packages.
There we go. Yeah.
Well, most definitely.
Punt returns, 5 so far. You're averaging 83 yards. Kickoff return, 23 yards in all-purpose yards, 385. But one thing that I'm always curious about, like many teams have 2 punt returners, 2 kickoff returners. Yeah. But not UWL. They put you, my friend, on an island. So it's just you in space making your own decisions. How is that?
Well, I mean, I kind of like it too, because then I get an extra guy to block for me. So I'm just glad that I have coaches who can trust in me to catch the ball and then be able to get that ball back for our offense. And I think that's the biggest part in punt returning, is getting the ball back to your offense without any of those dumb mistakes of turning the ball over.
One thing that impressed me about you is your panoramic vision. You catch the ball with and your security is extraordinary. You catch the ball, you start making your run, and then you find that seam, and you do a nice job of getting good yardage to start the offense.
Yeah, and I think that comes just with everyone doing their job on the blocking. I think it's really easy for me to find a hole when the blocking is there, and there's so big a holes just because we do such a good job on special teams all over the board, kickoff, kick return, everything, and so it comes really natural.
Yeah, well, you're a good choice back there, the lone ranger by himself. So, but real quickly, a couple of things, Elijah. A lot of people are like, where'd this guy come from? Well, you were a high school star in St. Paul.
I appreciate that.
Talk about your high school years.
Yeah, so in high school, I come from a relatively large city, St. Paul, Minnesota. And out of high school, I was really just football. I grew up with football. My dad played football when he was younger. He was a diver in high school, but he's still really supportive of me in my athletic career. He, I think grand total in all of my days of playing football, he's missed a grand total of 2 games. So he comes to everything, yeah.
Even when you were like 4th grade playing?
Everything. He coached me in Little League, so he does what he can.
He's everywhere. He's always there with us.
Phenomenal guy.
Big supporter. Both of these guys, I mean, you talk about dads that are there and supportive. Holy cow, they're awesome.
Yeah, so I tell everyone he's my biggest fan. So out of high school,
your inspiration too.
Yes, most definitely. And then growing up with an older brother too, we were always really competitive, being from the cities, and a little bit tough growing up down there, you know. And just it didn't matter whether he thought it was competitive or not. I followed him into football, and kind of whatever he wanted to try, I wanted to do it too. And I always, being the younger brother, I always wanted to be better. So we got into lifting. He got into lifting. He's 2 years older than me, so when he was a junior, he was on the varsity team, and they let me in there and lift with some of those guys too. So that was a huge. It was a wake-up call and a confidence booster at the same time. And then just getting in there, working through some of that. I ended up being a 3-sport captain in high school, football, wrestling, and track. And I just encourage everyone to not necessarily specialize in sports, but
good. Rapid fire drill, real quick.
Yes, sir.
Major, you are a junior.
Sophomore, actually.
Sophomore?
Yeah, sophomore.
Okay.
It's wrong on the
So major and career and so on.
Yeah, so I'm a ESS major, and that's why I chose to come here, because we're really good in that program. And I'm hoping to be an athletic trainer when I'm older. So
good.
I'm a finance major, looking to major in and get a career in personalized financial planning.
As a senior. So
yes, sir.
Quickly, goals for Elijah for the rest of the season.
For the rest of the season, just finish on a high note. I think we can compete, and I think we can beat everyone within the WIAC. That just comes down to us playing our best football, and I think that the only team that can beat us is us.
How many TDs are we going to see Jake have running away from the coverage team between now and the end of the season?
A good goal to shoot for, I think, is 3.
3?
Yep. I think that's a good goal.
Good. Well, I wouldn't be surprised at all. So. Well, actually, 2 of my favorites. Well, because you're the 2 on today.
Thank you.
But you guys did a good job. We want to make sure you stay healthy and enjoy the rest of the season. So, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thanks for having us.
We'll be back with our final segment right after this.
Since 1897, Schilling Supply Company has been your single-source provider of business solutions and supplies. Their 65,000 square foot facility stocks over 3,000 items ranging from packaging, janitorial, industrial, food processing, safety, and specialty products. Schilling Supply provides the essentials you need to meet your customers' and employees' expectations. Businesses like Gunderson, Quick Trip, Dynamic Recycling, and Badger Corrugating rely on Schilling Supply to deliver the right products at the right time. Schilling Supply Company. Visit on the web or call.
The all-new Honda Fit gives you the flexibility of the magic seat with the fuel efficiency you celebrate at the pump. From Honda Motorworks.
You'll love more miles per dollar.
Stunning from any angle, the HR-V is a crossover of style and versatility.
You'll love more miles per dollar. Honda Motorworks.
The all-new Honda Fit gives you the flexibility of the magic seat with the fuel efficiency you celebrate at the pump. From Honda Motorworks.
You'll love more miles per dollar. Honda Motorworks.
Mix 96, today's best music mix. Good morning. Van McNeil, More Music Morning Show is on the air.
Hey now, baby.
Hello, Ryan Seacrest here, Mix 96.
Are you ready for it?
Hey, it's Reed Magnum, Mix 96. Taylor Swift, here we go.
Are you ready for it?
This is Pop Crush Nights. I am Lisa Page. The moment that I've been talking about all week, I'm sure you're so over me mentioning the Chainsmokers, but hi, Alex and Drew are on the line right now.
Mix 96.1.
Welcome back to the Mike Schmidt Show. Well, I forgot to mention this. Now, Coach Schmidt started his day like about 5:30 this morning, wondering what people do on their bye week, as he's the co-host of Lillette Balloon Show. So we're talking about officiating the Packers and so on. I was like, is that a good way to start your day?
It was. I mean, you know, you're hoping that we'd be up, promoting a big win and talking about those things. But we'll talk Vikings Packers all day long if we want to. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to sit in on the fill-in show there, be a fill-in for Dave Carney on Dave and Scrady in the morning. The next couple of days, actually. So, yeah, the La Crosse area people just get their whole full of me. I think they're kind of done with me the way it is, but we'll just continue to saturate the market here
so
at
from
this point. Yeah.
Way before dawn till way after dark.
Yep.
Okay, John Gruden of UWL.
No, not even close, because yesterday I didn't do anything. I said I watched football, I played football, we went to church, had breakfast, we watched the Vikings Packers, played football at halftime, played football afterwards. So just normal guy.
The
on
one
Sunday.
week I missed church because of the family, you go.
We're there, so we got our bases covered though. We're fine. Coach Janice and I always joke about just being regular guys on situations like that. We saw each other grocery shopping and watching NFL football. So on the bye week, we were just kind of normal guys.
Did you guys hear this? He grocery shops. Like,
yeah.
Who cuts your lawn? You don't. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I do, and I didn't do that because I was watching. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I've been putting it off. I need to.
All right, we better get back to the show here.
This is the time to kind of do all this kind of stuff is on bye week, right?
So, but now you're back to work. Now,
back to work.
What did you see, though? Well, you broke the tape down, and then we want to get into several things. But you broke the tape down, okay? You scout yourself. You say, were we predictable? What was our game plan like? You scout the other team. You look at like tendencies. You must have saw some concerning things, but you also saw some bright spots.
Yeah, we had a lot of really good things. You know, I think we just, when you look at some of the things that we got to fix, I mean, we got to figure out some better reads in our run-pass option game on the offensive side and get that cleaned up a little bit. Our offensive line, they looked like a young offensive line at times. Now they got stuff figured out and did a great job, but there were times when they looked like a young offensive line. So they are. We got 3 freshmen playing in there, and they are. And they had a game like that at times, not all the time, but at times, and that's what's going to happen. With a young team like that. But on the other side of the ball, we just got wore down in the second half, and we gave up some big plays that resulted in touchdowns. And you hear me talk about that all the time. We can give up big plays, but they can't directly lead to a touchdown. Every time they had a big play, they turned into a touchdown. The other thing, one indicator that I've believed in and looked at for years and years in this is that if you give up 3 straight touchdowns, if you give up at any point, if you ever give up 3 straight scores to a team, it's really, really difficult to ever come back from. It's just one of those things that's such a huge momentum change in a game, and that's exactly what we did. And we just couldn't find the stop. We couldn't find the play to get off the field. And so we're going to continue to work on those things here this bye week. But there's a lot of stuff that we really got to dig in on ourselves here this week before we even move on to getting prepared for Whitewater.
So you're going to expand your playbook, obviously, on both sides. You're going to look at some new things. When we're going to get to Whitewater in a minute here, but do you give them a little bit of a break now? I know coaches don't take breaks because you're working as hard, except for Sunday, but do you give the players a little break?
Yeah, we're going to give everybody a little break. I mean, that's kind of the beauty of this thing. That's why it's there, is to get your guys ready to go. I mean, you look at this week, it's time to get ourselves ready for WIC play. I mean, anytime you can take time off, we're going to take that time off with our guys and with our staff. And so, really with the players, we have a lighter day today, coming off a really physical game. We're working a youth camp during our practice today. So we're going to practice and then go right into youth camp and help make a difference in our community, which our guys are so good at.
Oh, they are. But,
all the time.
We should have mentioned this a while back real quickly. You do more than just a youth camp, because when they needed your help, they needed UWL, the football players, strong football players down in Coon Valley.
Stoddard,
yep. You were there.
We were there for helping with flood cleanup. I mean, we're doing a walking school bus, walking kids to school this Friday morning on our bye week. Our guys are going to get up and help walk kids to be a part of that community with Emerson Elementary on Friday morning. Last year we had over 1,000 hours last spring semester alone at Summit Elementary with one-on-one mentoring opportunities. As we were sitting here, I checked my email, and we got somebody from the community outreach asking if we'd come and help mentor kids at Lincoln Elementary, which we're obviously going to do. We're a huge part of this community. Our players are, and so this week we can take some time to kind of focus on that and really get those guys to be more a part of the community in the service side of it, along with getting them back. Obviously we'll get back on a regular schedule with some with our practice schedule, but we don't want to get too far from out of the ordinary. We don't want to break routine too much, because then it starts to affect their lives. I mean, those guys, we're all creatures of habit with that, but we're definitely going to take the weekend off. Coaches, players, everybody included, take the weekend off. Get ourselves ready, because we got a big 7 weeks coming up here in a row.
Good. Real quickly, Sue and I have 15 grandchildren, and 6 of them go to Summit. Yep. So the question when they were at the house yesterday is, ask Coach when the players are going to come back to Summit so we can see them.
Yeah, they're going to be back there for sure. That was an awesome deal, both sides of it. Me talking about 1,000 hours of community service in one elementary school in La Crosse. What an awesome deal for our team, and for Summer Elementary. That's we obviously have a lot of personal ties there, but yeah, really cool.
With somebody called your wife.
Yeah, and kids, 2 boys
kids,
that are there.
2 boys. Well, real quickly, we're going to talk a lot about Whitewater next week, but River Falls losing to Missouri Baptist, Oshkosh squeaking one over Lincoln, Missouri. Whitewater's like, is that right? 73-0. Yep. Middle. I don't think Middle Georgia State is going to play them again. Platteville over Dakota State, or Stevens Point, and Platteville losing to Thomas More of Kentucky. Any surprises?
Yeah, kind of. I think all of them are surprises, to be totally honest with you. I mean, I don't know that ours is a surprise to many people out there. I don't know if it is or not. We played a really good team and could have gone either way with that thing, and obviously didn't go our way. But those other ones are kind of surprising. So a tough day in the league on a couple fronts, but still the best league in the country in football. I mean, you just look again. We beat Illinois Wesleyan at Illinois Wesleyan, and they dominate Wheaton in their game. So we still have a really quality win against a really quality team, and now we get our shot here in conference play. We get a chance to load up and get ready to take on the WIC, and it starts right at the top with Whitewater, and I know our guys will get ready and we'll fix all the stuff and we'll be ready for that game.
Well, I guarantee you will bounce back, just because of the culture, just because of who you are, just because of your coaching staff and the resiliency of the players. I have no problem saying that, and no doubt about it, and we'll be broadcasting that game at 4 o'clock. But next week, we're going to really drill down and talk about the Warhawks. So we hope you enjoyed this week's Mike Schmidt Football Show. Again, we want to thank our sponsors who are really good enough to present this to you. We'll be here each week as we talk Eagle football with Coach Schmidt and guests. Please remember the show airs at 6:30 on Tuesdays. Our next show, next Monday, September 24th, as we take an in-depth look at the Warhawks. And also, what did you do? What did the Eagles do? What did the coaches do to change things and get ready for Whitewater on September 29th at 4 p.m.? So until next week, for Mike Schmidt, I'm your host, Terry Erickson, thanking you for joining us here on KQEG for the Mike Schmidt Football Show.
You've been watching the Mike Schmidt Football Show on KQEG TV. The Mike Schmidt Football Show is brought to you by Honda Motorworks, your electric and hybrid headquarters at 4th and Cass. By Schilling Supply, serving businesses with critical supplies since 1897. By Schumacher Kish Cremation and Funeral Services in La Crosse, La Crescent, and Onalaska. By 360 Real Estate Solutions. They've got the keys to your new home. And by Market & Johnson, Western Wisconsin's construction leader, adding value to everything they do. Join us next week at this same time for the Mike Schmidt Football Show.